Today on the Rockbridge Report, we have the latest on the Ebola case discovered in the United States.
Rockbridge County police and firefighters responded to a strange call earlier today. What they found when they arrived on scene, next.
And with elections coming up on November 4th, the candidates for Lexington City Council spoke to kids yesterday about some grown-up issues. We'll have the details later on.
All that and more is next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Jeb Purcell.
And I'm Bella Sparhawk.
Rockbridge County deputies say a man caught on fire as he tried to make methamphetamine at the Fairfield rest area on Interstate 81 Wednesday night. An investigator said the man was apparently an employee at the rest area. The Sheriff's Department news release says an explosion occurred as the man tried to make the drug in the maintenance building. The man was taken to the University of Virginia Medical Center with severe burns. Deputies did not identify him. The explosion occurred at about 8:30 p.m. a mile south of exit 200. The rest while the incident was investigated and to allow crews to clean up potentially hazardous materials.
The race is on to contain the Ebola virus brought to this country by a Liberian man. He's now in serious condition at a Dallas hospital, and everyone he's come in contact with could be at risk. CNN reporter Polo Sandoval is in Dallas with the details.
Stay home until October 19th. That's the Texas government's order to 4 close members of Thomas Eric Duncan's family. They may have been exposed to the Ebola virus after Duncan became the first person to develop symptoms in the U.S. The Liberian man flew to Dallas, stopping in Brussels and Washington's Dulles Airport. Duncan may have had contact with 100 people. He's confirmed to have had contact with about 12 of them.
Can't get my baby just in case. I don't know what's going on, but make sure we safe.
I don't think I'm going to bring him until, I go to the doctor, check him, and then see if he's okay.
The CDC now giving out information cards to everyone arriving from West Africa, the epicenter of the outbreak. They're hoping to stem the spread of the virus.
This is very likely to happen again, so we have to be prepared to react here, and we have to be working to contain this in West Africa. That's the only way of stopping it happening.
When Duncan began feeling sick, the hospital in Dallas didn't isolate or even admit him, even though he told them he had just traveled from Africa. The hospital admits this information was not fully communicated to the full medical team. He was sent home with antibiotics, only to return to the hospital when his conditions worsened.
This was just a simple, faulties of human nature. It was a mistake. They dropped the ball.
And as you heard, criticism still mounting here in the Dallas area about the handling of this case. In the meantime, we do know that health officials will be reaching out to an estimated 100 people, asking them if they've had either direct or indirect contact with Thomas Duncan, the man at the center of this story. We do understand his condition still listed as serious. It is an improvement, though, from what we saw yesterday morning. Reporting in Dallas, Texas, I'm Polo Sandoval.
Liberian officials say they will prosecute Duncan for lying on his health form and bringing Ebola to the U.S.
Virginia State Police are urging people to come forward with any details they may have about the disappearance of UVA student Hannah Graham. Police say the suspect in Graham's case, Jesse Matthew, is linked to the death of Morgan Harrington through DNA. Harrington, a 20-year-old Virginia Tech student, disappeared in October 2009. Her remains were found a few months later. Matthew was also accused of raping a student at Liberty University 12 years ago but was never charged. Police are continuing to search for Graham, who has been missing since September 19th.
I'm not, nor is anyone on my investigative team going to be that thing, that person, that source, that enterprise, that organization that snuffs out hope for parents and friends and family and community. I'm not going to do that. When I got a substantive basis to be forthright about where we are in this investigation, I will be first and foremost that way to Mr. and Mrs. Graham, because they deserve that.
There is a $100,000 reward for information leading to Graham's safe return. The disappearance of Hannah Graham has been getting a lot of national attention, but it also has local college students thinking more about their safety. Reporter Lindsay Cates has more.
The day after Hannah Graham vanished in Charlottesville, Lexington police and campus security at Washington and Lee University issued what turned out to be a false alarm about the sighting of a man suspected in the death of a Virginia Tech student 5 years ago.
The notion that something so horrible as a kidnapping or a murder would happen on a college campus so close to ours, I think has definitely, that effect has penetrated our campus to an extent.
Students at WNL say they have been thinking about small things they can do to be safer. Women who live off campus are paying particular attention.
I've been trying to walk in numbers instead of just walking alone across campus, and I've been trying to actually go home sooner if I can, so I'm not on campus after dark.
Public safety says it's all about finding a balance and having an awareness when it comes to your own safety and security.
People maybe become concerned, change some of their own behaviors. And then I think certainly the next layer for us with that as well was that we had our own safety notice that we sent out based on information that we had received.
At Virginia Military Institute and Southern Virginia University, officials tell a different story. They say little has changed on those campuses.
Cadets and faculty are in uniform, so it's obvious when somebody is out of place. They just don't fit in. So it's, VMI is different. So there, we are aware of what's been happening nationally, but I don't think we're doing anything differently. We're just being more vigilant as we do that.
Cadets at VMI say there are several layers of security on campus, and they never feel unsafe.
Being here at VMI, we all use the buddy system, so we don't really go out alone, and we make sure that each of our brother rats are safe. They don't go out doing something stupid most of the time, and we watch each other.
In light of the recent news, students on all 3 area campuses say that for the most part, they still feel safe. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Lindsay Cates.
Secret Service Director Julia Pearson is out of a job, residing under fire after intense pressure for her to step down. The final straw? When the White House realized she failed to inform them about an embarrassing security lapse last month in Atlanta. The president learned of it only minutes before news organizations reported on it. CNN's Michelle Kosinski has more.
While White House fence jumper Omar Gonzalez was pleading not guilty to federal crimes for storming the mansion armed with a knife.
Go back, everybody into the park.
It's not clear if he's even aware of the fallout he leaves behind.
No, stop, please.
Julia Pearson now resigned as director of the Secret Service. Her terse and answerless answers to an angry House committee this week only riled Congress even more.
Is the President of the United States informed?
I would assume that the President of the United States is informed. I don't know.
Details came from whistleblowers that she didn't even mention. And now we know one of those newly revealed incidents, a security guard with a gun in an elevator with the president 2 weeks ago in Atlanta, a situation that hadn't been cleared by Secret Service and violated protocol the White House wasn't even told about until just before it became unpleasantly public yesterday.
Director Pearson offered her resignation because she believed that it was in the best interests of the agency to which she has dedicated her career.
Pearson called it painful to leave.
I, Julia Pearson,
after 3 decades with the Secret Service. Now the interim director, Joseph Clancy, is also a long-timer who headed the Presidential Protection Division and retired 3 years ago. But it's the culture within the agency that seems stubborn to change. One former Secret Service agent told us things like the front door alarm being turned off because White House ushers didn't like the occasional loud noise points to what he calls a dangerous acquiescence at upper levels of the service, a desire to please the boss. He says few supervisors were willing to insist on things being tougher when they should have been, and that infuriated officers below them, leaving some now to turn whistleblowers, finding willing ears in Congress.
Agents in this agency said they were hesitant to raise security concerns with their supervisors. Ladies and gentlemen, something is awfully wrong with that picture.
Lexington City Manager John Elstad is wrapping up 24 years on the job. Local citizens and public officials are taking the time to recognize his impact on the community. Samantha Yates was there for the celebration.
It wasn't just Lexington residents who crowded the new Robert E. Lee Hotel Friday night to mark Elstad's retirement.
The community wanted to make this happen. The community wanted to say thank you. The community, Rockbridge County, University, Lexington, the citizens wanted to say thank you.
Family, friends, and community members heard one speaker after another praise Elstad for his long stewardship of the city.
I keep an eye on John,
And I knew exactly when someone hit the crux of the issue, because that head would turn just like an owl, and he'd look. And then it would turn back, and then he'd start to speak, and everybody would shut up, and everybody would listen, because he knows what he's talking about.
To Elistad, being city manager was about bringing the citizens of the community together and making a difference in the lives of others. Among his many accomplishments were consolidating fire and emergency services, hiring the city's first paid fire chief, and creating a regional tourism group, the Kids Place, and Senior Center.
John and I meet every Thursday afternoon, and it is going to be very hard for me, as much as I'm looking forward to working with Noah Simon, not to have him here. We've become very close and shared lots of hours of conversation.
John was in a position of power, a position of authority for so many years. But he used that position, he used his power, his authority, to make a difference in the lives of others.
For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Samantha Yates.
Rockbridge County welcomed its new Director of Fire and Emergency Services this week. Brandon Mitchell says his first goal is to begin a paid ambulance service in Glasgow and Fairfield. All of Rockbridge County currently relies on volunteers for both fire and EMS. County officials say more intensive training requirements and fewer volunteers stretch the current system too thin. In the busiest parts of the county, up to 1/3 of calls for help can't be responded to. Glasgow and Fairfield will be the first to benefit from contracted service, but officials hope to bring more paid service to the county in the future.
Coming up, weather anchor Jordan Cohen will let us know if it's finally time to break out those fall sweaters when we come back.
And stay with us for the latest on Lexington City Council candidates.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
He's on his way. He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay.
Laura.
Okay, try to call him again.
There's no signal.
Try.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
Everything's down.
This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Bella Sparhawk.
And I'm Jeb Purcell.
The clock is ticking down on an ultimatum issued by student protesters in Hong Kong. Demonstrators say the city's leaders must step down or they'll start moving into government buildings. Protesters have been preaching the importance of peaceful demonstrations that are concerned that any escalation could give police reason to intervene and potentially work against the protesters' cause.
Well, it may be October, but we had some warm temperatures today. Are we going to see fall weather anytime soon, Jordan?
Thanks, Jen. Well, it's not fall temperatures just yet, but we do have some beautiful weather happening in Lexington. Right now, it's about 76 degrees with a low of 57. and a wind speed coming slightly out of the east at about 3 miles per hour, with the humidity around 45%. We're just a little bit less hot outside than it was in 2002 with a record of 87 degrees, and we're well above the record low of 32 in 2003. If we take a look at what's happening in the neighboring cities, we see that they're all experiencing some beautiful weather today. Stanton is about 78 degrees, while Charlottesville is about 73. Buena Vista is also in the 78-degree range, and Covington is 69 degrees because of some cloud cover. In Lynchburg, we have about 76 degrees, and in Roanoke, we're at a balmy 79 degrees. Taking a look at the forecast for this week, right below Lexington to the south, we're seeing some precipitation, which will be making its way up north to Lexington soon. And if we take a look at the 5-day map, we'll see that on Friday there's a pretty good chance of rain, about a 90% chance with a high of 79 and a low of 54. And starting on Saturday, it'll be about 61 degrees. It'll have cooled off just a little bit because of the rain with a low of 40. Starting on Sunday, we'll have a high of 63 degrees, warming up just a little bit with a low of 44 degrees. And on Monday and Tuesday, highs in the 70s and lows in the 50s. That's all for the weather. Back to you, Bella.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll be sure to bring our umbrellas to class tomorrow. Rain has forced rescue workers to call off their search for people on Mount Ontake in central Japan after the volcano erupted over the weekend. Police have identified 42 of the 47 people confirmed dead. About 1,000 self-defense force personnel, police officers, and firefighters were searching Thursday morning near the summit, but they canceled the search when it started to rain. Rescuers fear the rain could cause volcanic ash and mud to flow down the slopes. Family of friends and the people climbing the mountain when it erupted are waiting for information at the Disaster Response Center at the foot of the mountain.
After the break, sports anchor Kaylee Wells will give you the scoop on all your local sports teams.
Please have an application. Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books. No more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out for summer. What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Ball in the air reminds me of football.
But it's also almost time for the Fall Classic. Kaylee Wells joins us now for sports.
Thanks, Jeff. The Generals football team is away looking for their first against Eastern Mennonite yesterday, leaving them with a 6-2 record. The team will also face Bridgewater at home this Saturday. The women's soccer team won 1-0 against Shenandoah and now has an 8-0-1 record. Washington Lee's volleyball team won 3-0 against Shenandoah as well, with a whopping 17-1 record. Their next game is Tuesday, October 7th, while away at Hollins. Virginia's Military Institute football team is away at Tennessee Chattanooga this Saturday. The The team currently has a record of 1-4. This weekend is jam-packed with athletic events for Southern Virginia University. The football team plays against Keene this Saturday with a record of 0-3. The men's soccer team plays Penn State Harrisonburg this Saturday at 1. The team currently has a record of 3-8. The women's soccer team plays against Christian Dome this Friday. This game will raise money for the cousin of a midfielder, a 13-year-old boy with Down syndrome and an eye condition. Rockbridge County's football team currently has a record of 0-2 and will play Friday, October 10th. The Major League Baseball playoffs kicked off this week with the 2 wild card games. The top 2 non-division leading teams in both the National and American Leagues faced off to secure the final spots in the divisional round of the 2014 playoffs. First up on Tuesday night were the heavily favored Oakland A's up against historically underperforming Kansas City Royals. The game went deep into an extra inning before a 2-out walk-off single by Royals catcher Salvador Perez drove home the winning run in the 12th. This marked Kansas City's first playoff win in 29 years. The following night on the senior circuit, the San Francisco Giants scored a decisive win against the Pittsburgh Pirates, led by a complete game shutout performance by pitcher Madison Bumgarner. In the end, the Giants won 8-0. The American League Divisional Series starts tonight at 5:30 with the Tigers and Orioles playing in Baltimore, followed by the Royals traveling to Los Angeles to face the Angels at 9 o'clock. The National League Series starts tomorrow as the Giants play a 3 o'clock game against the Washington Nationals in the nation's capital. At 6:30, the St. Louis Cardinals and Los Angeles Dodgers start the final series of the division round in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Kaylee. I can't wait to see more playoff action this weekend.
And that's all for tonight. Oop.
The Mayor's Youth Council of Lexington held a forum yesterday evening for city council candidates.
You have to choose 3 pictures to represent
Chuck
Lexington.
Smith, Patrick
What
Ray,
3 pictures would you choose?
Mary Harvey Hazelf, and David Sigler are 4 candidates running for the 3 open council spots.
To highlight the importance of family to our community.
My pictures would be, probably a shot from, right out there, from the parking lot of a middle school looking out the House Mountain, because it encompasses the larger picture of which Lexington belongs.
The doors of Lexington, because that way I kind of include all the great iconic doors and buildings in Lexington.
Is the brick sidewalk. That really, really unique thing about Lexington is that sidewalk. And it kind of says to me there's a history here, there's a pride here in who we are, and a tradition.
Chuck Smith, Patrick Ramey, Mary Harvey Halseth, and David Sigler are the 4 candidates running for the 3 open council spots. Students on the Youth Council asked the candidates 5 questions to describe their platform. Students wanted to know how candidates plan to enhance downtown Lexington and promote civic engagement across all ages.
And that's all for tonight. Make sure to follow our website at rockbridgereport.washingtonlee.net and like us on Facebook and Twitter.
Thanks for watching and have a great evening.